happens every time. I forget to hit done, so it changes the game category. So then when my alert goes up, it's like, hey, playing the game that I've already finished. Wait, what is this? Hang on. Oh, they have another game coming up. Okay. 2026. Where's my board? I have a feeling I'm gonna need this, except unless there's like in-game tools. This is gonna be kind of like point and click. Ooh, okay, interesting. It's like point and click detective stuff. It's gonna be a lot of reading, I assume. Hi, Cass. December 6th, 1998.
The plane that crashed last night just outside of Pittsburgh is now known to have been the private jet of the Roottrees Corporation. Local aviation authorities have speculated, based on the pilot's final communication, that the winter storm
The TV looks so crisp compared to the rest of the game. It's so funny.
On board were multiple family members, including corporate president Carl Roottrees and his daughters, the Roottrees sisters, best known for their fashion lines and modeling careers. There were no survivors. That's sad. Again, for those of you just joining us, the Roottrees are dead.
What a cute room. Okay, so the whole thing is point and click?
I know it's late, but I'm guessing you've seen the news. In addition to dealing with the grief, the Roottrees Company's lawyers are scrambling.
Yeah, so I bought this on the Halloween sale. It's been on my wish list for a while because it's like a detective game, but it's like overwhelmingly positive on Steam, and it looked good. I love like mystery detective games. They kind of fit in that like semi-horror category. I feel like if you like horror, you like detective games too, for the most part, like mystery games.
Everything's about to change. Anyone proven to be a blood relative is about to get much richer. I'm here to ensure everyone is accounted for.
Damn.
I've
always the
an
blood.
Expert at sorting out complicated family trees. A genealogy genie, as it were. I'm going to give you a quick test. Pass, and I can promise you the job of a lifetime.
Holy shit. Okay. Complete the family tree of the Roottrees sisters. Siblings are in birth order, oldest to youngest. Examine my evidence, search the internet for clues, fill in the names, fill in the occupations, fill in the photos. Sleuth. Okay, evidence. The person who hired you gave you this photo with a note attached. This was taken during the shoot for the Roottrees sisters' Got Milk ad. I've tracked down a test photo from before they painted the fake mustaches on, which I thought would be more appropriate considering the circumstances. The ad's copy reads, "You might recognize our faces from the magazine you're reading, or you might recognize our name from the candy bar you're eating. Being a Roottrees is a full-time job, but so is growing up. That's why the calcium found in milk is so important. Plus, you can't make chocolate without it." Okay. This list was provided to you by the mysterious person who showed up at your door. You'll need it to fill in the family tree. God, I feel like I'm gonna be terrible at this game. Oh no. Okay, so there was 3 sisters? I gotta figure out how this works too. Oh my god, the dial-up. I feel like this game is like a little chiller than like some of the games we play, which is why I'm excited. Spider search. Oh, we have to like pick things? Oh, interesting. Can we just do sisters without doing anything? There are a lot of obituaries that focus on the Roottrees sisters' modeling careers. You also come across an unofficial Roottrees fan site, seemingly curated by a teenager. It's neon pink with purple text, and hard to read until you highlight the words. The young webmaster writes, Raina is the most famous because she's the oldest and got married to TMS. Wait, did it say I could like make notes? Highlight. I feel like I don't need a note on that. I just need to have it marked down. You might think they are rich just because they are models, but their dad is also the president of the candy company, and their mom, Brenda, is a fashion designer. They do the modeling for her brand Root. I eat Roottrees candy all the time. My favorite are maple crisps. And try to dress in plaid Root clothes like Riley does in most of the posters. Someday I want to get my ears pierced like Rose. Okay, wait. So, highlight that. The website's author continues to talk about her own life and what she likes about Root fashion lines, but none of it is relevant. Okay. That's important. So now, we can assume from our notes, I don't think we can we use this as like portraits? Like, I gotta figure out how this game works first. Can I pull up my notes? Oh, I can. Okay. I'd like to be able to look at the picture well. Okay, Raina is the most famous because she's the oldest and got married to TMS. But Riley is the smart one. Rose is a middle child. Dress in plaid Root clothes like Riley does in most of the posters. Rose has her ears pierced. Okay, so... Oh, okay. There we go. So I'm assuming this is Rose. This is Raina. This one is Rose, and this one must be Riley. Okay. So the youngest is... Wait, let's see. This one... Oops. What the heck is that? Oh, cool. That's a little... Ducky sister. This is Raina. The middle sister is Rose. This must be Rose. She has her ears pierced. Wait, why is her name not on here? The heck? Okay. Well, this one's Riley. And that would be this one, right? No, this one. Oh, wait, this has to be... We have to change this. Because she's the one that's married. Wait, I messed it up. Ah! This is hard. This is the one that's married. Raina. Their names being all R's is making it hard for me to remember. The middle one, this would be Rose. But I think her name is not on here. And then this would be Riley. They have their names spelt so weird too. I love how it teaches you like the oh shit. Wait, who's the middle? Did I do this okay? Yeah, it is. I did this right. Okay. I didn't realize it said oldest to youngest here. I missed that. Let's go back on the internet. Aren't they all just models? Is it Riley, the one that we don't have the name of? No, it's not. It's Rose. So why the heck is Rose not on here? There's a lot of Roottrees, but there's no... So is her name different? And we'd have to figure that out. Okay. Sorry, I'm like playing with everything to see. Okay, this is kind of like Alan Wake in a sense, like in a like really in a really like basic way, because it works sort of similar. Just seeing what we can. Okay, so all the information should be model, model, model. TMS. Let's try that on the internet. TMS. Search. Oh, is it because I pressed the button? The TMS is a common abbreviation for early 90s teen heartthrob Tommy Mark Sheridan. His first credited role as Thomas Sheridan was on a soap opera called Time Marches Onward. He skyrocketed to popularity after his starring role on the sitcom Brother Trouble. Since the end of Brother Trouble, he has often been on the cover of tabloids for his supposed drug use and more recently his relationship with Raina Roottree. After a short engagement, they married in 1997 when she was only 19 and he was 23. Okay, so it's Tommy Mark Sheridan she's married to. How do you get names in here? Oh, here we go. So we really just need her name now. Let's try searching. See if she has a different name or something. Was it RH? Yeah, it was. Rose. Roottrees. You know who's really good at these kinds of games? My mom. Sorry, I got distracted. If someone isn't in the list of names that your employer provided, doing a deeper dive on what you learn about them will often lead to additional discoveries. A good research tip is to make note of any brand names, books, product lines, or magazines that you don't recognize and search for them. So, let's see. Back to our evidence. Got milk. Maybe that. Or... did it say anything about what the modeling was called? Root. Let's try that. Root. Modeling? Got milk. Maybe lowercase? Oh, I see. Okay. Root. The period is part of the name. Is a clothing company. They make clothes for children from toddlers to teenagers. Although their website is down, likely due to increased web traffic, you find countless retail sites attempting to advertise their clothes towards the target audience. One of them has this to say: "You've spied the Roottrees sisters looking hella fly on catalogs, magazines, and posters. Now you too can be like Riley, Rose, or Raina." You also come across a website from a collector of clothing catalogs. Apparently, Root has released 2 catalogs per year, every year since 1984. And Raina appeared on almost all of them. There is only one that the webmaster considers a collector's item enough to mention. It seems that Brenda Roottree, the Roottrees sisters' mother and Root, head designer, appeared on one cover holding her daughter Rose in 1985. The site says that this was the only time her daughter was ever listed with her birth name, Carly Roottree. I told you she had to have a different name. Let's see. There we go. Well done. Did I do it? Did I do good?
Sorry to test you, but I had to be sure you could use the internet. Some folks refuse to get with the times. Safe to say, you're hired.
Sick.
The reward for untangling the family tree is substantial. Life-changing, even. But here's the catch. The Roottrees go way, way back. The family tree's a bit daunting. Most people freak out the first time they see the whole thing. But I'm sure you'll be fine. The man who started it was particular about whom he considered family. For your purposes, you only need his direct blood relatives. Anyone related only by marriage is optional, but filling them in can lead to useful discoveries. Lastly, you now have access to some unique websites, plus a list of notable Roottrees. Notable people are easy to find via your search engine, and marked with stars on the family tree. I'm off for now. Carl Roottree had a lot in his office. I'll look for anything useful. I'll return once you identify 6 more blood relatives.
Right? Who the heck is this now?
Sorry, one last thing.
She came back.
This might sound odd, but if anyone else claiming to represent the Roottrees reaches out, I'd appreciate you not mentioning I was here.
Uh-oh.
Thank you,
That's
and
sus.
good luck.
It feels like a lot at first. Like, it really does, but I think starting from the top down So let's see. The story so far. The Roottrees sisters and their parents died in a plane crash on December 6, 1998. The next evening, a shadowy figure appeared at your door and said the lawyers were looking to sort out the family tree. After a quick test, the figure gave you access to some resources. This included a list of notable Roottrees who said they would be the easiest family members to place. They said they would return in the time it took to fill out 6 more blood relatives. This is a list of notable Roottrees. The person who hired you gave you this list and said everyone on it could be found easily via your search engine. Can we, like, copy these? I wonder. That would be really nice. Oh, wait. Does it let me do that from, like... Ooh, okay. I have to do it from a button, but yeah. Any entry on the family tree that belongs to someone on the list will be marked with a star. Notable Roottrees will be crossed out after they are verified and logged. Okay. This is an advertisement for 5 pieces aimed at kids from the magazine Teen Blast. It mentions that the 5 pieces were named as such because the original creator had 5 children. The ad also mentions that the current 5 flavors are not the same as back then. You've been in this line of work a long time. So long, in fact, you've developed a sixth sense for how useful your evidence can be. The numbers in the magnifying glass refer to how many clues are connected to a specific piece of evidence. Damn, so there's 11? The higher the number, the more there is to find. At the start of your search, the notables list sets off alarm bells, a list of famous people that you can find via search engine. It's pretty rare to get something that useful, best take advantage of it. As you progress, these numbers will change. Whenever you find more evidence or lock in family members, new discoveries will be added to the list and old evidence will become less useful. Trust your intuition. If a piece of evidence seems too good to be true, take a closer look at the people or phrases it mentions. Often, the most satisfying revelations come from retracing a path you thought was fully explored armed with new perspective. Sometimes the reason certain evidence has such high value is because it could lead to finding more evidence. You may be missing a huge piece of the puzzle. Okay. So let's start with... Ugh. Let's just do a Google search. Can I do it like this? Oh, I can. Okay. Thank you. Ugh. Carl Roottree died in the recent plane crash along with his wife, Brenda Roottrie, and their daughters, the Roottrees sisters. Okay, so, in theory, we can go like this. Wait, can I zoom in? This would be Carl. And this would be, what is his wife's name? Brenda. Is her name Brenda White? I'll have to Google that. He was the president of the Roottrees Candy Company, as well as the clothing company Root, which he co-founded with his wife. There is a short press release that the Roottrees Candy Company released today in a new organization, December 6, 1998. It is with a heavy heart that we mourn the loss of Carl, Brenda, and the Roottrees sisters, and the other employees that perished in the terrible tragedy. The entire Roottrees family... It starts literally probably when I'm ending, so I probably won't come. Also, games like Jackbox make me really anxious, but I do like watching them, so like, at some point if you're playing and I'm not like doing something, I can come watch. Yeah. Maybe I will stop in. Yeah. We'll see. It'll be right at the end of my stream, pretty much. I looked, because it said 3 hours when I went live. It's like those, like, you know how, like, Jackbox is kind of those, like, think on your feet, like, kind of games. Those things make me so nervous. Or, like, games where I have to, like, draw in front of people or any of that stuff. I don't know what it is about it, Like, even like when people would do those kinds of games like in person, I just could not. They make me so anxious. It's kind of like the way that like D&D makes me anxious and I can't do it. Alright, stretching. The entire Roottrees family is in shock. See, it's easy to explain it to you because I know you'll get it. But like, some people just don't understand it because it's a kind of a weird like, I don't want to say fear, but like thing that like starts my anxiety, I guess. The entire Roottrees family is in shock and requesting privacy at this time. As the head of our company, Carl was an incredible man and an unmatched leader. Filling his absence will be difficult and may take considerable time. In the interim, we hope that you join us in looking back fondly on Carl and his family's triumphs and accomplishments. They go on to list some of those accomplishments. One of them seems relevant to your search. Like his great-grandfather before him, Carl earned the highly prestigious Watchman of the Year title. This seems like it could be important. I don't need that. I don't need that. Cool. Library. Oh. Well, that doesn't help. What was it? December 6th, 1998? Oh. Damn. So we have to have the... Doesn't tell me what the news is here. What does this even say? Oh, it talks about the computer. Cashew PCs. What did we say? Brenda, what does it come up as? Brenda White or something like that? Let's put it in there, but let's search that name. You stumble across an auction for a black and blue dress that's Brenda White original. The auction describes it as a vintage dress from before Brenda became Brenda Roottrees and started designing clothes for Root. The white and gold dress itself doesn't seem relevant. I hate this game already. I hate it. What a... Oh god. What a reference. Okay, so she is Brenda White. We need a picture of Carl. Wait, what is this supposed to be for? Let's try Roottrees Candy Company. Mixed in with the recent news of the plane crash, there are a lot of results for Roottrees' extremely popular candy products. Their official website is unstable due to the traffic it has been receiving. However, you find a direct link to the history section that manages to work momentarily. The Roottrees Candy Company was founded by Elias Roottrees. Okay. So this would be... Elias Roottrees. He's married to Gwyneth. And then this would be Gwyneth, right? Gotta figure out what her real name is now. Married his wife Gwyneth, whose family owned a small farm called the Anderson Maple Farm. For reasons that aren't explained on the page, it has no CEO and no stockholders. Instead, it's run by a president, with input and votes from extended family. The site does mention that every president has been a direct descendant of Elias and Gwyneth, including Carl Rootree, who despite his death is listed as the current president. The product that put them on the map were 5 pieces, maple candies with 5 different flavors that are dipped in a crispy, crackly candy coating. Since then, they have branched out to countless other products, all of which incorporate maple in some way. Their sister company, simply titled Root, specializes in children's clothing. The primary models for Root are the Roottrees sisters. Okay, so now we want this. Try this to get her name. Like her real name. Ooh. We got a picture. Hang on. Damn, that's an old picture. Okay. You find some information on a website for... This game is sick. It's a lot of thinking, and you guys are gonna realize real fast how disorganized my brain is, but I think I'll get there eventually. You find some information on a website for the first Anderson maple farm. There are a few pictures, including a famous picture of Elias and Gwyneth. That photo was added to your evidence. Before marrying Elias, Gwyneth Rootree was known as Gwyneth Anderson. Okay. So this is Gwyneth Anderson. Oh my god, I'm so ADHD though that like I'll think of something and just like... So he would be the first president, right? Like my brain just kind of goes in all directions. This is a famous picture of Elias and Gwyneth Rootree. It was taken in 1909 after they founded the Rootree Candy Company, but before it was a success. From what you found searching the internet, it seems quite difficult to find any site about Elias or Gwyneth that isn't accompanied by this picture. Elias and Gwyneth are on the notable Rootrees list in your evidence. They will be marked on the chart list. Okay. Before marrying Elias, Gwyneth Rootree was Gwyneth Anderson. She had no brothers. So as the oldest sister, she was to inherit the Anderson maple farm, so long as she married. Before Elias took over, the farm produced only syrup. It was supposedly Elias's idea to create candy instead. Their success was not immediate until they decided to combine the maple with other flavors. This led to 5 pieces, which are still found in stores to this day. Though the Rootree Candy Company expanded well beyond their original farm, it has been preserved as a tourist attraction. According to their website, there are still daily demonstrations and educational tours that show off many of the turn-of-the-century appliances that Gwyneth would have used as a housewife in the early 1900s. Is housewife like an option? It is. Because it's either that or like farm. She owned the farm. She didn't really farm. It did mention specifically that she was a housewife. Okay, so from there you get these two, but we would need to know what their kids were named. Let's just do 5 pieces because I know the game wants us to do that. From marketing materials and various candy history sites, you learn that 5 pieces are the iconic candy sold by the Rootree Candy Company. Although they are no longer the company's only popular product, they still sell well to this day. 5 pieces are small, colorful, shell-coated maple candies that since the late 20s has been pressed into the shape of a maple leaf, although they usually have one flavor that looks more like a berry. As tastes have changed over the years, so have the 5 flavors, but the shape and combination with maple have remained consistent. There's also a history of print advertising website that claims to have a 5 pieces advertisement scanned from a book called The Sweet History of Candy Volume 2 by Charles Lee. Unfortunately, when you click the website, it seems all their image links are broken. Okay, so highlight. Library, author name, Charles Lee. Book title. Can I copy from here? This game is so nice. And it works with like normal like Control V, Control C. Published 1985, hardcover history, advertising, nonfiction. This is part of a book series about all things candy in the modern world. It starts in 1925 and continues onward to chronicle the rest of mass production and global distribution. The book ends with a look into the future of candy, as envisioned by experts in 1985. With the addition of hindsight, you can clearly see they got pretty much everything wrong. It includes some print and advertisements. You find a newspaper ad for 5 pieces from the 1930s added to evidence. Okay. Let's get rid of this. You found this advertisement in The Sweet History of Candy, Volume 2 by Charles Lee. It's from 1928, 6 years after the debut of 5 pieces. It states that the flavors are inspired by their children, and the order is grape, elderberry, cinnamon extract, melon, and the newest flavor, Miracle Berry. It's a miracle, a modern candy for a modern society. Roottrees 5 pieces contain 5 different maple-infused flavors. The Roottrees are a proud family business, and our flavors are inspired by our children. G is for grape, E is for elderberry, CE is for cinnamon extract, M is for melon, and M for Miracle Berry. Miracle Berry is a burst of beautiful blossoming blended berries. Try it today. So with these would be the original, so it would be G, E, CE, M, and then another M. Those are the kids from the founders, which are the 2 people we just talked about. Gwyneth and Elias. Can we look at this? See, okay, so I'm assuming that this would be the same thing. Maybe these are... they change, so maybe these are like... another family. Let's go here. So... see if this makes sense. 1 child, 2 child... 3 child, 4 child, 5 child. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So this would be M, C, E, G, probably. You just do like... I don't know if this is like too complicated for this. Elias, Roottrees children. No, okay. It does not want you to be like that. It doesn't want to make it that easy for you. I had to try though. Yeah, so this is saying that... oh, okay, I get it. So it's telling you that this ad is not telling you what the original flavors were. So I wrote on my, what's it called? My board. Oh, you can change songs. Hopefully the music is all safe. So where are the more stars? This is a star. It would have been Carl's parents or this one. So we don't really know. This would be Carl's parents, you know, sibling, I think. I'm like, I keep putting my fingers in front of my face and realizing that it screws up the model. Because I'm like, chilling here just like staring at it. I need to figure out... Okay. I forgot that we still had the ability to do this. Still had a list. You find some information on a website about old films that are not yet available on VHS. Oh my god, VHS. The site is not very well organized and the search is broken, but you can get to individual pages from your search engine. Gwen Roottrees is a somewhat well-known actress who was active in the 1950s. She often appeared in tabloids, especially around the time of her highly publicized divorce. Her biggest role was the minor hit movie Guys Like Us. She left Hollywood after the flop of Christmas Mission. There's a widely circulated picture of Gwen from behind the scenes on one of her movies, which you've added to evidence. Did you know trivia? Gwen was the granddaughter of Elias Roottree, the founder of Roottree Candy. She shouldn't have been named Roottrie, but her father took her mother's famous name, which was quite rare in those days. Jesus, okay, so she would be... So let's see. These are their kids. So she's gonna be one of the, like, second generation somewhere. She's gonna be one of these stars. Because these would all be the grandchildren, since there was so many kids. There was 5 of them. But she's not gonna be any of these ones. Did we figure out? Okay, could it either be this one? Hold on. Yeah. She could either be this one, or this one. Because those are all the stars. We just have to figure out what her parents' name is. Okay, split up. Wait, that actually helps too, because didn't we just learn that she had a divorce? Yeah, okay, so she's probably this one, right? Am I crazy? Because that's the only one that had a divorce. And she would be the grandchild because these would be her parents, which would be their kids. I think I'm red stringing, right? What about, can I do divorce? By searching for variations of Gwen Roottrie, you came across some mentions of the marriage to Wild Bill Williams. They divorced before the birth of her second child. Okay, so she had 2 kids. Yep, okay, that still works. Let's figure out what this guy's name is then. Wild Bill Williams. Why would you marry somebody called Wild Bill? That sounds like a recipe for disaster. You find some information on a website about old films that are not yet available on VHS. The site is not very well organized, and the search is broken. But you can get to individual pages from your search engine. Wild Bill Williams was the leading man of some non-notable movies in the 1950s. He appeared in an adventure movie called Fortune Favors the Grave, which is yet to be released for home audiences. You don't find any additional information about that film. He was known for his good looks and off-screen romances, specifically with blondes. That's so fucked up. He was married 4 different times to 4 different actresses. There's a famous Hollywood rumor that he even approached Marilyn Monroe at a party and that she was already aware of his reputation. Did you know trivia? Wild Bill grew up in Paris, France. He returned there often. She did kind of, like, have that, like, I was like, oh, she kind of looks like Marilyn Monroe. So let's see if there's any Bills in here. No. Interesting. We have to come across that name at some point. Because it didn't give us anything here. Let's see. Is there anything here that... Can we do, like, name? Not do anything? No. See, it won't, like a normal search history obviously would give you more than this. So I have to, like, test what it would let me. What about Fortune Favors the Grave? It seemed like that was kind of a specific thing. You find some information on a website about old films that are not yet available on VHS. The site is not very well organized and the search is broken, but you can get to individual pages from your search engine. Wild Bill Williams was the leading man of some non-notable movies in the 1950s. He appeared in an adventure movie called Fortune Favors the Grave, which is yet to be released for home audiences. You don't find any additional information about that film. Okay, so this is all the same. Wild Bill, Paris, France? No. Okay. Maybe we can't get his name yet. Maybe we have to do something. It would be... What about William? Is there like a William? No. Just to kind of... You must have some crazy name that's not even close to Bill. Unless we have to, like, get the unknown. You know what I mean? Okay, so at least we have her. Try this. We're just gonna keep going down this line. But we know who she was married for. Oh my god, what a name. You find information on a website about strange historical facts. Aloysius Herring Roottree, aka Red, was an appointed judge and politician who earned his nickname ironically because he was ambassador to Ireland for only about 6 days. He served what some people contend is the shortest term in history. A few days after he was appointed, he was heard disparaging his position and the Irish people. He then tried to run for state senate. He claimed to be related to the Roottrees Candy Company in a newspaper ad, but it came out that the last name was merely a coincidence, and he was defeated in a landslide. Ooh, interesting. Okay, so is there like somebody that's not connected to them? Or do we just not even put him on here because he's not related to them, right? Ooh, okay. See, it gave the red herring. Okay. Alright, that's good. What was I about to do? Oh, right. Wait, where did I put... Oh, right here. She's an actress. Or... Actor. Cool. Okay. Hi, Blurneco. Welcome, welcome. It's going good. Good. So far. Alright, Jim Roottrie. James Roottrie is a singer who sings in the duo Jim and Diamond with his wife Diamond LaRue. The duo, according to many sources you find, is considered a one-hit wonder due to the disco song Rollin' On Down to the City. It is now in your evidence folder. Although Jim writes the majority of his songs, plays the guitar, and often sings, Diamond is considered by fans to be the band's lead singer. The band never had another hit, but has its fans, who refer to themselves as Diamond's Dazzlers. The rest of their music is more folksy and acoustic than the one song they were known for. Jim and Diamond have continued to release music through the 80s and early 90s. Other albums you find mentioned are Cherry Tree and Sound of Laughter. Jim has become a bit of a recluse and he hasn't made a public appearance since 1996. Okay, let's look at the evidence we got. Oh, here. on Down to the City was barely a top 20 hit for a few weeks in 1979. According to the liner notes, it satirizes how part of a society was content to remain indifferent to economic inflation and civil unrest in the Middle East. Unless pop culture tricked them into caring, somewhat ironically, listeners didn't seem to pay attention to the lyrics enough to trick them into caring. Instead, most of its play came from roller discos. Because it was such a product of its time, it doesn't get much play anymore, and even on stations that play oldies. Maybe that's why you'd never heard of it before now. This image is from an auction for a sealed copy. It has a sticker that says only the great-grandson of Elias Rootree could make disco this sweet. It is credited to Peter Janowitz from MMM. Music and lyrics by Jim Rootree, vocals by Jim Rootree and Diamond LaRoe. Jim Rootree is on the notable Rootrees list in your evidence. He will be marked on the chart with a star. I'm not reading the lyrics. Okay, so he is a grandchild. Disco. So he'll be in this row. He's notable, so he's gonna be one of the star people. So he's gonna either be here or here. It just kind of depends on lineage for this one. Because we don't have any real, like... The reason that we could put Gwen here is because we know she... Wait, does it have a play button? Oh, it does.
We're rolling on down to the city.
What a bop.
Saturday night and you're quite a sight. The world might be burning, but I'm feeling right. Making ends meet, so they rent and leave. We can't afford gas, so we skate in the streets. Guys all rush to say that I'm pretty. Ladies blush and find me so witty. They're out of luck tonight, what a pity. We're rolling on down to the city.
Damn it, they like went hard with this game. This is a full song.
We glide with you by my side. Inflation is rising and so is our pride. Pick our own fate, make love not hate. They fight overseas, but we'd rather skate. Guys all rush to say that I'm pretty. Ladies blush and find me so witty. They're out of luck tonight, what a pity. We're rolling on down to the city. Politicians at large are hopeless. The bankers in charge are all clowns. The party's so better than protest. So signs up while we boogie down. Guys all rush to say that I'm pretty. Ladies blush and find me so witty. They're out of luck tonight, what a pity. We're rolling on down to the city.
What a bop. Wait, hold on. That was good. I expected it to be kind of like cringe, but no, that was really good. Hold up. Okay. Well, we know they exist, we just don't really know where. Unless the other star isn't married. No, the other star isn't still. It's either going to be here or here. It just depends on the parents. So we know the initials of the children, but we don't know their names. Lauren Rootree. Let's see see if we can get another space. This is definitely not one of the children. Because... it doesn't match the initials of the first flavors of the candy. Author Lauren Rootree, a distant relative of the Roottrees sisters, is known... Okay, so she's a distant relative of the Roottrees sisters. Is known for her book, A Life Between Wars. According to a website about famous authors, in the early 1960s, Lauren released a few romance novels under her married name, Lauren Rafferty, to little fanfare. When her publisher learned she had been keeping diaries about her famous family, they insisted she release them under her original name, Lauren Rootree, to take advantage of her family's notoriety. The selection of diary entries released in 1965 as A Life Between Wars spans from the untimely death of her husband in World War II to coping with the post-war world as a young widow and mother, as well as her perspectives on changing times and socialites, all the way through the entry into Vietnam. While the content is not considered particularly relative to modern audiences, it has found new life as an exercise in high school English classes to show an evolution in writing style and for a look into life in previous generations. After the success of her diaries, her publisher re-released her romance novels under the name Lauren Rootree. This included Romance in Court, which gained popularity. She followed the re-release up by writing 2 new sequels, creating what fans refer to as the Court Jester series. You find no recent details about Lauren, though she is listed as retired. So is there other... Let's see if this has anything. Start here. And then it was Lauren Rafferty. Oops. Damn, they don't have that one. Okay, let's see. Oh, that's why, because it wasn't relevant. Let's try this. Change this to Rootree. Published 1968, softcover fiction romance, a romance novel by Lauren Rootree. The About the Author blurb mentions she had the inspiration from one of her brother Clancy's lectures on the Middle Ages. Okay. So let's see. Clancy. We need to... Oops. I'm just gonna go like this and highlight. Because now we know Clancy was her brother. There was one more book, right? Oh, it's just a series, so we can't look up the series. What about Clancy Rootree? No, okay. So he must have a different last name. Oh, wait. It was Clancy. Oh, right. Her name was Rafferty. I don't think it matters then. I think I spelled it wrong. But I don't think it matters now. I don't know why. I forgot that she was... No. Oh my god, I need to look at this again. Hang on. I'm so confused. That's her married name, right? So it would be Clancy Rootree. Just nothing comes up. She would be one of the stars too, though. We just don't know what her parents' names were. We know she's not up here, though, if we go by the initials of the candies. Oops. Did I not? Miracle Jr. doesn't go by his full name in promotional materials. Instead, he has shortened it to Miracle Jr. Miracle Jr. is a televangelist who is part of the Miracle Network. He used to have a show that aired on local access across many stations in the northeastern United States. According to a website called Clergy Watch, he was exposed and subsequently charged with conspiracy to defraud the public in 1979 when he claimed to heal someone in a wheelchair. A news expose revealed it was his wife Edith's sister in a disguise. The author also mentions that Edith had a bit of a checkered past herself, but doesn't clarify. He has since lost his television show and instead goes on tour across the southern United States, where he was not well known before the scandal. Okay, that doesn't really give me anything to go on, I don't think. We could try this, though. You find a website for the Miracle Network, a production company run by the Miracle Roottrees estate. It's quite bare bones, but has the following blurb. Witness the testimonies of the Miracle's Roottree. Miracle Roottree arrived so late in his mother's life that doctors swore he wouldn't survive his first year. His mother and father, Elias and Gwyneth, named him Miracle because they thought him impossible. He was younger than his brothers and sisters by over 14 years. So he'll be the youngest of the, top. He'll be one of the M's. Witness the testimonies of Miracle's Roottree. Miracle Roottree arrived so late in his mother's life. Oh, we already read that. With a birth that late, the final child of his generation was nearly torn apart by countless health problems. But still, with the power of God on his side, he persevered. He triumphed over these complications and even regained his sight to spread the healing word of the Almighty. 23 years later, Miracle Roottrees Jr. arrived and became the famous... Okay, so this is his kid. So there's also a Miracle Roottrees Jr. and became the famous family's second vessel for the higher power. At 18, he unburdened himself from the Roottrees name and took his father's testimony to a whole new level. Via the power of television, Miracle Jr. spread the gospel across the entirety of New England. He has since left the life of glamour and glitz behind to reach those places that need it most. The power of the Lord coming to a town near you. Below the blurb is a flyer about the tour, which is in your evidence, okay? This would be... This would be Miracle Jr. No, this would be his father. This is Miracle Roottree. It's so good, isn't it? And this would be Miracle Jr. Okay, so here it says youngest is on this side. So this would be Miracle Roottree. And then this would be Miracle Jr. And I guess he had another kid named Miracle? Is that what I'm learning? Oh my god, what a name. Miracle Roottree the Third. As if Miracle wasn't such a weird name to begin with. What did they even say his fucking job was? Production? Is that a thing? No. I guess maybe a preacher? Televangelist. Is that a thing? Nope. Okay, so Edith would be his wife. So Edith must be Edith Jacobson. There's only one Edith. And then this would be Junior. And then there's Miracle the Third. Miracle the Third Rootree. What a name. Jesus. I don't know what their, like, occupation would be considered. Let's try Miracle Rootree. Just, like... Did we do this yet? No, it just brings you back to here. I guess preacher? Is that what we're thinking? They'd both be preachers? That's kind of what it sounds like to me. Okay, which stars are we missing now? So this is another M. This would be CE. This would be E, and this would be G, I think. If it's in order. What about Edith Jacobson? Is it O-N? Oops. Oops, caps lock. Hang on. You find a link that seems to be a partial and corrupted list of archived articles from the Butler County Times. The article is cut off, but it mentions an Edith Jacobson and arrest. You may be able to find the article somewhere else. So that's probably for Miracle. There's nothing else here. What about Miracle Rootree Third? Is it really gonna make me do it like this? This is just a guess. I'm trying to see if I can find any more leads. Okay, no. I don't know why this is like boxed off. Oh, because it's her spouse's. Or her, but they got divorced. Damn, this is complicated as fuck. We're getting there though, just slowly. We know the name for his kid, but we don't know anything about him. We don't know what his sister's name was either. There's no more lists, no more names on our, like, this list. So the stars are really just here now, right? The ones that we need. So it'd be whoever this is, which we're assuming is CE of some sort as the name. And then one of their child, and then the two grandkids. Oh, but it would be, so it would be Carl's parent, actually, here. Hang on. Does it say anything? Doesn't talk about his parents at all. That's kind of crazy. I don't have a picture for him either. Ooh, he was the third president, I think, would be it. President. Ooh, he's the most recent, so it would have to be 5 if there's been 5. Does it say anything about that? About Watchmen of the Year? That get me anywhere? Business? Ooh, sick. Okay. Business Watch magazine is a magazine focused on companies, CEOs, and the economy. This might be how we find the picture. They have been around for over 100 years in one form or another, and will often write about major changes in management at famous companies. Every year, they offer an award to a prominent businessman who has furthered the field. They call this Watchman of the Year. You find through a few searches that 2 Roottrees have been featured as Watchmen of the Year, Elias Roottree and Carl Roottree. Business Watch does not host any online archives on any site. You can find via spider search, though you may be able to find individual... Okay. So periodicals... Business Watch. Search. Roottree? Carl? Oh yes, sick. Picture. Carl Roottree was voted Watchman of the Year in 1987 for his work with Root. The cover and a summary of the article has been added to your evidence. Damn, what a face. Carl Roottree was voted Watchman of the Year in 1987, and a photo of him appears on the cover. According to the cover, Business Watch is the magazine for and about corporate leaders, and has ongoing coverage of who's who in the corporate world. Carl was chosen not for his work at Roottrees Candy, but rather a clothing company, Root. There's a brief history. Before they married, Carl's wife, Brenda, was a fashion consultant. When Raina was born, Brenda retired to become a stay-at-home mother. Looking for a creative outlet, she spent any free time she had at the sewing machine. Raina's new clothes were a hit with other parents, including Carl's cousin, Jim Roottree, a notable singer who had a young daughter around the same age as Raina. Word spread. Okay, so he's a cousin of Carl. So same like line. By 1982, Brenda's patterns were being copied by other brands. Seeing the demand, Carl and his second cousin Ernie Jr., who had just become president of the Roottrees at the time, spearheaded Root. So Ernie Jr. is going to be the E on the like siblings of, or the children of Elias, who had just become president of Roottrees at the time, spearheaded Root. Other blood relatives who have a say in company's finances refused to fund anything other than candy, so Carl personally spent his entire inheritance to bankroll the clothing company. When the profits began to appear, however, the rest of the family changed their tune. They repaid his investment, and now Root exists under the umbrella of the candy company, and they all benefit. Per tradition, or perhaps superstition, new clothes always debuted the way the first ones did. Raina became the catalog's cover model. As she grew, the product line expanded to older kids as well. Her younger sisters were then recruited to show off their baby clothes. Carl was voted Watchman of the Year primarily for his personal gamble and the ensuing payoff. Okay, so this is his picture. Second cousin would be up here. And as far as we know, but we can just search him. Ernie Jr. Ernie Jr. was a former president of the Roottrees Candy Company. He seemed to directly precede Carl Roottree. And one website even says that he was Carl's mentor. He was apparently very successful as a president, but not so much as a public figure. He was rarely seen in public and stepped down due to illness in 1996. He has since passed away. Okay. So, Carl would be here. His second cousin would be... Oh, damn, this is confusing. Second cousin would be up here, right? No. Second cousin would be... So if we're assuming this is like Ernie Sr., this could be Ernie Jr., right? No. Cousin would be here, right? Lineage gets so confusing when you start doing like second, third, fourth. This would be a direct cousin. So a second cousin would be... No, this would be a brother. Second cousin would be... God damn it, I can't even think now. Never mind. Let's forget that. It'll come together at some point. 'Cause my brain hurts. Unless it's this star. That would be his brother or sister. Heck is a second cousin then? Because like a direct cousin would be someone on this line, right? Yeah, that's the whole thing. So a second cousin would be what though? Sorry. I'm like holding myself tight while I try to figure this out. Stretch. Jesus. Because his second cousin, which was Ernie Jr., he directly preceded Carl Roottrees. So if this, Carl was the fifth, because he was the most recent president. Ernie Jr. would have been the fourth. I'm assuming he would get a star, right? But he isn't on the list, so maybe he's not a star person. A second cousin is a person who shares your great-grandparents as their most recent common ancestor. Okay. Wait, so wouldn't that not matter? Your parents and your second cousin's parents are first cousin. This means you and your second... Oh, it's literally just a cousin then, right? So, like... It's considered a second cousin because they're the only ancestor they like share is this, but it would still be... So it'd be somebody on this line, right? Am I, like, crazy? Wait, oh. I'm starting to, like, lose my mind here. So... Ernest Madsen, I believe... Oops. Would be Ernie Jr.'s father. Ernest Jr. Madsen? It is tough work, especially when you get, like, confused. Okay, wait. Hang on. This helps. Where's my... Jim Roottrees was a cousin and is a star, so it's gotta be right here. This has to be Jim. James Roottrees. And he was a singer. What do we got here? Musician. And then this would be Diamond. Hell yeah, okay. These 3 entries are correct and have been locked. You've also locked the following optional entries. Ooh, I think we did good. Sick. Okay, what did we get right? This isn't right? Something's wrong with this. That's okay. We know we have at least Miracle correct here. Because that's his wife. And then we have all the other stars correct. Why didn't these... Something's wrong here too. Or this could maybe be because we don't have the kids. Yeah. I think that's it. I don't know what's wrong with this one. It might just be his job. I thought it was preacher because they both sounded like preachers. Let's just leave that for now. You'll see it one day. Oh god, is it really obvious the thing that I'm missing? Does it have to do with her... Does it have to do with her occupation? Because I wasn't sure about that either. Did I spell it wrong? Carl was his great-grandson. So, well, we already have Carl locked in. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out what I'm missing here. How did we even get... It's about the board itself? Oh, shit. Did I do something wrong? The only thing I can think of is that this is wrong. Oh, I see. They're backwards. I thought this was their spouse. Okay, I'm an idiot. I see. Oh my god. Well, at least I had the information, right? That should be right now, right? God, that's so silly. Okay. We got pretty much everything correct. Except for this here. Probably because we don't have his spouse. And we're not 100% sure on his job description. But nothing comes up when you do Miracle Rootree. What about Miracle Rootree Estate? Nothing. What about... So we definitely have Miracle in the right spot. The family's second vessel for the higher power. Witness the power in the Lord in the summer of 1993. 3 generations of miracle power. Oh, I see. Nicole is Miracle the third. I think that's what that's saying. Miracle third is the pastor. So this must be Miracle the third. This would be Miracle. Aha! Okay. I needed to read that more correctly. These 3 entries are correct and have been locked.
You're on a roll. I'll try to keep that momentum going. Carl's office was a mess, thanks to some burst pipes. But I unearthed a photo from a 1970s Rootree reunion. I also found some important-looking papers.
Ooh, nice. A lot of evidence.
You've traced 9 blood relatives so far. I'll have more to share after you find 9 more.
9 more? Alrighty. So his spouse is Nicole. That's what we were on. So it's either Nicole Madsen or Nicole Smith. So let's try. Nicole Madsen. Nicole Smith. Nothing. Okay. We're gonna have to find it somewhere else. But we know Miracle the Third's wife's name is Nicole. Oh, I should have read this. I'm stupid. Youth pastors. So they are pastors. Pastor. I just didn't get to write this in. Oh, preacher, I guess. Would be. Is it... For some reason it calls him a pastor, but pastor isn't an option. Much more. There's 2 more things to find from this. Anyways, let's keep going with what new information we have. Check. 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 This photo has a note attached from your employer. Here's a bonus. When I pulled the water-damaged picture of the free spirits out of the frame, this fell out too. Written on the back of the photo is, couldn't make the reunion. Wishing you well from Paris. Gwen and the boys. So this is Gwen? Another picture of Gwen? And then we knew who her spouse was, right? Oh, it was Wild Bill, right? But we never figured out what his name was. So she had 2 boys. We can put their pictures in here. I mean, it doesn't... We're gonna have to figure out which one's the youngest. This one looks younger. I'm gonna do it like this, just for now. Only one of them is gonna be married, though. One of them is in film school. You can see that by the picture. This one doesn't have any real... Let's try. What is this free... Okay, This photo was tucked inside an envelope with a letter beneath a candle in the corner of his office. The letter says, to Carl and Brenda, I'm sorry that you were unable to attend the funeral. It's traditional to have it as soon as possible, and Ernie, more than anyone else on Earth, knew how busy your job can be. I've enclosed a Shiva candle identical to ours if you'd like to pay your respects, though it's not expected for those outside of the faith to do so. Ernie was a man full of love, not only for his family, but for his family's legacy. He had an immense amount of pride for the work you 3 did together, as well as how Carl has carried on for him after taking over. As for myself, it is impossible to express my gratitude enough for rescuing us from the panic and burden of endless bills. Though we caught it too late for him to get on the donor list, the company took care of us beyond our wildest expectations. It went unsaid at the time, but Ernie and I knew it had to have been Carl that convinced the trust, and that it was no coincidence that it happened shortly after your visit, Brenda. Up until the end, Ernie and I had to stay strong, especially for Nicole's sake. We could never have done that without the 2 of you fighting for us. Much love, Debbie. Okay. That's a lot. That's a lot of information in one thing. So, did we lock Ernie in it at all? No. But that's the one where Ernie Jr. was his second cousin. Was his second cousin. But Ernie, oh, would Ernie be, hang on, who in our star list? Because there's just one more star left. Should start there. That would be Lauren. This is Lauren. Lauren Roottrees. She was the author. Just, does it say anything? She had a husband, but it doesn't say her husband's name. Court Jester. Romance in the Court is a book by Lauren Roottrees. It's the first and most famous of a series of 3 books often called the Court Jester series. All 3 books in the series are about different romances, but told via the same narrator. You can probably surmise the narrator's profession. The 2 other books were called Return to Court and New Romance in Court. Searching for them online yields few results. The books had some popularity when they were released in the late 60s. Now, 30 years later, they aren't in high demand. Okay, so we know that she was married. And we know that they had a kid, but the kid was divorced. And then the kid had a second spouse that they divorced. But they had a kid with the second spouse. Oh no. So they had a kid here. And then they had a kid here. So two different parents for these. But this one never had any kids. My disorganized mind is figuring things out. Okay. This said... There's nothing about Lauren on here, right? Which one did we say had a spouse named Nicole? It was this kid. This one. But the other Nicole must be the one that was married or a child of Ernie. Debbie might be his spouse and Nicole might be his kid. So this would be Debbie and this would be Nicole, I'm assuming. Oh God. This photo has a note attached from your employer. Every 20 or so years, the Roottrees would hold a big reunion and recreate an old family photo. This is the one from the 70s, and Carl's the teenager in the middle. Sorry about the water damage, a pipe burst in Carl's office. On the back of the photo, in childish print writing, it says November. There are also a large number of cursive signatures. They include Bonnie, next President Guy Hudson, Ernie Jr., Caroline, Gwyneth M., Gwendolyn, Miracle Jr., Jim Roottrees, Clark, Carl, and Ellie M. I still think this is, yeah. And this would be Ernie Jr. This is what I think here, at least. There's so many pictures. Oh my God. This is Miracle Jr. Where is it? Oh damn it. It's gonna make it difficult. Do we have any other... These... Ernie Jr. But obviously it's not in any specific order, so we can't really use that. But we have... We have a whole bunch of photos. This would be Jim Roottrees, though. So that would be... This is gonna be tough. Hang on. Which one looks like a fucking singer? This one. Probably. I'm just gonna assume for now that that's the one. This one. Not that the secondary photos really matter that much. The Roottrees sisters and their parents died in a plane crash on December 6, 1998. The next evening, a shadowy figure appeared at blah, blah, blah. After some time, they returned with new resources, a photo of Carl's generation taken in the mid to late 1970s, as well as some papers and mail from his office. Then they said they had a bit more to share after 9 more blood relatives. What's the other photo or thingy that we have not looked at? Oh, here. This was buried under a ton of other mail that Carl left in his inbox. It had a handwritten note attached that seemed personal. It's a flyer about a candidate for local office Stephanie Jones. On the back is an excerpt from the newspaper article from the Butler County Times about her campaign. Stephanie may have grown up in an unconventional family, to say the least, but in her words, it was still full of love. And now, 22 years later, with a baby of her own due around Christmas, her message for voters is simply, "Love is our future." The handwritten note says, "Carl, I know we don't see eye to eye when it comes to the candy company, but if you could talk to your girls about putting out a statement supporting Stephanie, she could use the publicity your daughters bring. Don't let our conflict spread to the next generation." That seems kind of fucked up if I'm being honest. Let's see, Stephanie Jones. She must be like Stephanie Roottree, but she didn't want it to be. You learned from an election results page that Stephanie Jones, a candidate for city council, won her campaign on election day about a month ago. You find no mention of the Roottrees in any articles about her. Stephanie also has a very bare-bones website for her campaign. It is simply a picture of her campaign mailer, and underneath it says, "Be sure to read the full article in the Butler County Times." Oh my god. Alright, so Butler County Times, and then this would be Stephanie Jones. The most recent mention of Stephanie Jones is a small report detailing the election results from last month's election. Stephanie apparently won her election. You also find the full version of the newspaper clipping on the back of the campaign mailer. While most of it is unimportant, you do find the following. Stephanie Jones, born Stephanie Landon, until her marriage to local business owner Brian Jones, has lived in Butler County her whole life. Stephanie grew up in a home without a father. With my mother and her partner, I essentially had an entire female influence. Though she is a distant cousin of the Roottrees, her mother, Caroline, a local artist who has appeared on the front page of the Butler County Times in the past, has often come out opposed to the corporation's policies regarding deforestation of indigenous trees to expand their maple farms. Unlike my mother, I'm not a fighter. I want to bring love into the world. Okay. So what I'm assuming is it's this mess. No, we figured this was Lauren Rootree. But then maybe this is Caroline? Caroline Morden? Caroline is listed on a few art websites without much detail. She seems to be associated with a movement called P-Flag, okay? An organization found in the 70s, the acronym stands for Parents and Friends of Lesbians and Gays, okay? That doesn't make sense then. Oh, yes, it does, because this would be... I'm assuming this is like saying that... Ooh, that doesn't make sense either. Huh. I'm going to... Can I get rid of this? I don't know if that's right. Damn it, I took too much information in at once and now I'm confused. That doesn't do anything. There's so much information. But it doesn't say who this is. But I guess it could be her child, like her kid. But I think that's her husband. Okay, so... yeah, so this makes sense. So if she's like... God, fuck. I am so confused. Well, maybe... what does this mean? Adoption? So that could also be... I'm trying to, like, figure this out. I don't know that this is right, but I don't know how to, like, get rid of it. Can I, like... okay, whatever. I know this is right, but we don't know much about her except that she's an author. But we don't know who she was married to. We're gonna keep going with that lead. Lauren Roottrees. Does this do anything? You do find that because the diary has been reprinted recently for schools, it is available in a lot of libraries. Didn't we try this? Oh, I just had the wrong... okay. Published 1965, hardcover student edition. Republished 1993, nonfiction. It seems you've hit the jackpot here. This is a book occasionally taught in schools. You can even find a hardcover edition for students that... oh my god, look at how much information we just got! That has full-page, high-quality pictures in it. A summary of the contents of the book, photos, as well as some particularly relevant entries from the diary have all been added to your evidence. Shit, okay. Lauren's diary contains some labeled pictures. This is the 5 pieces. This picture was famous in our house. Pop even had it framed. That's him on the left. Okay, so this was Lauren's father. It was taken in 1935 to celebrate the move to the new warehouse that Eli Jr. designed. Angie and I both wanted to be in the photo since Miracle was in it. And the 3 of us were all about the same age. We were told only the 5 pieces, which really didn't go over well, to say the least. Eventually, I was supposed to stop the tantrums. They posed us in front of the camera with Mr. Morden, who was there with Aunt Gwendolyn. I found out years later that they never even took a second photo. Okay, so this would be like original kids, I would assume, because that's what the 5 pieces was. What else do we got that we haven't looked at? Below are notes and observations you made while skimming through Lauren Roottrees' diary pages in A Life Between Wars. Lauren Roottrees is on the notable Roottrees list in your evidence. She will be marked on the chart with a star. The book was published in 1965 and consists of diary entries that stretch from 1940 to 1965. The most important event that much of the diary and Lauren's thoughts revolve around was the loss of her husband Jacob. Jacob died in the final months of World War II while Lauren was pregnant. This left her to raise her son Clark alone. Lauren never remarried and only had one child. By skimming the pages of the diary, you glean the following information. She was the granddaughter of Elias and Gwyneth on her family's side. Her mother's family was called the Costles, but she hardly ever mentions them. Her father, who she always refers to as Pop, was the head lawyer for the Roottrees Candy Company and helped write a legal document called the Clan's Trust. Okay, we have a lot of information here. It's clear from context that the Roottrees have internal shorthand names for the different generations of their family. Lauren uses them often. 5 pieces. The first generation of children by Gwyneth and Elias. Lauren's father was in this generation. The next generation, Lauren's generation. The Free Spirits, the generation after Lauren's, including her son. Okay, so here, this would be Jacob Rafferty. And then this would be Clark. So this is not Caroline, like we figured out. Clark Rafferty. Here, it's this one. And then he was this one, right? Yes. Now we try Clark Rafferty. A few fan sites for the band Jim and Diamond seem to mention that he used to make music with Clark Rafferty. They mention an album called These Times. A band called C and J and J and D. So C and J would be Clark and something, which would be his spouse. And then this is Jim and Diamond. Released one single called These Times. Someone with the username XXX Diehard Dazzler XXX scanned the cover and noted that it cost him over $200 at auction. Apparently this was Jim Roottrees and Diamond LaRose's first song together. He also mentions that it was performed by Jim's cousin and Diamond's sister, that it was only somewhat similar to Jim and Diamond's later works. You can't find anything else about XXX Diehard Dazzler XXX, the band or the single. All that's left to do is add the scan to your evidence. After a blazing fast 35-minute download, the track is also available. Can I zoom out on this? Because there's a lot of things. Okay, here. These Times is an old single from the folk group C and J and D. You have a scan of the album as well as a recording of the title track thanks to a collector of Jim and Roottrees memorabilia. The website also listed the song's credits as music and lyrics by Clark Rafferty and Jim Roottrees, backup vocals by the LaRose. Okay, so it's her sister, Diamond's sister. On it is a sticker that says, Folk Style Songwriting, Catchy, MMM Magazine. The lyrics of this song contain no clues.
Times are ours for free.
This isn't as catchy as the other one.
Tell ourselves these stories older. Dwell on warmth, ignore the colder. Probably yearn for what could be. Rose tinted by youth's memory. So act as though these times ain't fleeting. Love still flows, our hearts heart beating. For now ignore fate's destiny. Two roads that cross once at this tree. Someday these times will all be over. All be over. Dew dries on the morning clover. Morning clover. So take my hand beneath the tree and carve your name with me. times are ours for free. Someday these times will all be over.
Such a critic. An entry entitled Complaints from Lauren Roottrees' Diary, written in 1953. This entry seems to focus specifically on one of Lauren's family members, Gwen, who is on the notable Roottrees list. It seems everyone has something to complain about. Gwen, as an only child, complained of loneliness. I told her that being expected to watch after 3 younger brothers didn't feel like a blessing. But it fell on deaf ears. During the summer where I went to stay with her and Aunt Margot, I hoped she would be the sister I never had, and that I'd do the same for her. I even tried to dye my hair blonde to fit in with the 2 of them. What a mess, but she just complained. To her, I was the lucky cousin. Now she's off, living the glamorous life while I'm stuck here with Clark. I must admit, seeing her everywhere contributes to my unhappiness. Her visage stares at me, even now from my coffee table. She gets to be in Starlit and tell tales of how she gallivants around the world, kissing the likes of Harrison Lane and Wild Bill Williams. She's the first Roottrie woman to be anything other than a housewife. I am jealous. If I were not a single mother, could I make my own way in this world? But I'm off topic. A girl with all the luck in the world was jealous of me. And now, though I have been undoubtedly burdened by terrible tragedy, I am also lucky to be born into a family that can support me for eternity. I can raise a child without worry, unlike countless other widows. If any of them were to hear me complaining, they would rightfully scoff just like I do at Gwen. Okay, so we still don't have what Bill's real name is. But we know this is Wild Bill, whatever the fuck his name is. It's just, it doesn't come up as Wild Bill. She divorced him, though. Did we put Clark on here at all? Yeah, Clark was her spouse. Oh, child. An entry entitled Dynasty from Lauren Roottrees' Diary, written in 1958, it focuses on the day her grandfather, Elias, announced he would step down as president of the Roottree Candy Company, in the meeting to determine his successor. I wish I had been a fly on the wall today. Clancy told me that everyone got quite heated. Granddad was furious none of his sons would take over as president. But that's what he gets for holding on to it so long. With architects, preachers, and lawyers, nobody's got time for candy. So with the 5 pieces refusing to step up, it came down to us next gens. Pop argued at length that the company should stay with our branch of the family since we still have the Roottree name. I'm not even sure Clancy would have wanted it, but he's the one who was volunteered. Instead, it ended up going to Zach. Even though his surname doesn't match the candy, he's the firstborn son of the firstborn 5-piece. Okay, so that would mean this is, what did we say? Zach, not Zach. Yes, this is Zach. Zach Wilson, I'm assuming. And then he was the... None of the kids were president. Oh wait, we did have a picture of Miracle, didn't we? We'll figure that out in a second. Yeah, so this would be the second president. Would be Zach. I think. Because he's the firstborn son of the firstborn 5 or whatever it's called, 5-piece. I asked Clancy if it ever came up that a woman could take over. After all, Angie's older than Zach. and I'm the next oldest of us all. But he just laughed. I'll never forget the cuss words Pop used when he told Ma it wouldn't go to us. Mother, ever the quick-witted, countered back, maybe they wanted it to go to the only member of the family who looks like he samples the product. Okay, wait. Well, that's really, really mean. But that doesn't make sense now, because if there was somebody older than him... Oh, okay, it just matters for the... Okay, that's fine. So... one of here is going to be... Angie. Right, okay, so they're all in the same generation. Yes, okay. I needed that little bit of information. An entry entitled Sam from Lauren Roottrees' diary written in... There's so much information in here. 1963, from a previous entry, you learned that Elias Roottree had given in to his wife and announced that Sam, an obscure relative, was to be included in family gatherings. Gwyneth had been pushing to include Sam for quite some time. Lauren writes, "Why Sam? I have many distant relatives I've never met. After all, Granny had sisters and Granddad had a brother or two. But I was told trim their branches from the family tree. So why is Sam special? Nothing adds up, and I'm not the only one to realize." Angie summoned all the next gens to a secret meeting in Zach's office. Gwen's in Paris, but the rest of us, including Miracle's boys, spent ages trying to unravel the mystery. I didn't recognize Sam at Uncle Junior's wedding to Patsy last year. Okay, so Junior... Uncle Junior. Who the heck is that then? At the reception when I asked who Sam was, Pop shussed me and said it was complicated. Clancy swore he saw Sam working alongside the farmhands EC and John. Oh my god, there's so much. So many names when he used to drive past the old Anderson farm on his way to work. Upon hearing that Zach checked the records and managed to confirm all three are on the books. Eli, Miracle's youngest. Okay. Oops. Wait, come back to me. So, Miracle is here, so this would be Eli. Elias Jr. I'm assuming. Wait, no, that's not right. Fuck. Wait, he said... Yeah, no, that's right. I'm so stupid. Even chimed in. Apparently when he was riding his mini bike alongside the farm a few weeks ago, Sam gave him some old tools and taught him how to make the bike's engine faster. None of us think that proper for a multitude of reasons, but Eli certainly seems thrilled. At the end of the day, nothing explains why an outsider is cozied into family affairs, especially one who works on the farm of all places. Whatever happened to blood is thicker than syrup? Why is Granddad making an exception now? I'm assuming it has something to do with this. But also that's kind of far down the line. Could be here, maybe? No, because Elias have to be something to do with this generation, right? Or this generation. There's no weird, like, illegitimate... Okay, whatever. We have that in the back of our head. One of the final entries called Clark from Lauren Rootree's diary written in 1964. Clark's getting married, and in my opinion, far too young. He's barely 18 for God's sake, and Danielle isn't much older. But openly confronting them would make me a hypocrite. After all, Jacob and I got married at 16. Clark, like the rest of his generation, is a free spirit. What else do you call a group of kids growing up with more money than any one person can spend? They all aspire to be musicians and artists and dancers and all sorts of nonsense. The only one who has any discipline is Carl. That's because Pop forced Clancy to send him to the academy. Okay, so do we have Carl on here yet? What did she say the free spirit generation was? The generation after Lawrence. Okay. So here. So Clark is... Yeah. Right, okay, so... This generation is all musicians and shit. Oh no! No cake! This game is so interesting, but it's so confusing. So somewhere in here... Oh, Carl is here. So this is the only one. So this is Clark. Alright. Maybe I'm just getting old, but wait. Clark was married to a Danielle. Would this be a Danielle Franks? Is that his... Unless this is Danielle. And this is... Jane LaRoe. And then this would be... Kim LaRoe? Maybe? I think Diamond. That was Diamond. I could be completely wrong. Because this would be... Because she said that they got married really, really young. So I imagine they broke up. And then that's when he did his music shit. And Jane was the one who wants nothing to do with anything. But I'm assuming they had a kid together, maybe, called Kim. So it's C and J and J and D. Wait. Yeah, so Clark and Jane. Yeah, see, that makes sense. Okay, and then Kim was their kid. Yeah, hell yeah, I got it. Okay. Maybe I'm just getting old, but our generation was never so bad. My brothers all seemed to pursue paths of knowledge, and the most rebellious thing any of us ever did was bring home someone who would be illegal to marry if we lived anywhere south of Pennsylvania. Pop seems to have gotten over it because Edward is set to take over his department once he retires. And as for me, my first published book, Swashbuckle My Heart, is based on the pirate stories I used to invent with Jacob when we were walking in the woods after school. I think he'd be proud that Clark and I are carrying on his name. Even my cousins are doing well. Zach's not a bad president after all, and his sister seems to be doing a good job raising her twins. Gwen is Gwen, but at least she came out of the divorce with her head held high. She even told us she might come home next year so we can meet her kids. But the free spirits and any other family, they'd all end up in the streets, even Clark. Okay, so one of... What did she say about the twins? Zach's sister had twins. Here. Oh, it zoomed back out. Thank God. So this is Zach's sister. And she had twins. What was his name? Zach Wilson? What about Zach Roottrees? This is Zach. Because she said he looked like the only one that would eat candy. So it implied that he was on the larger side. Okay, Lauren's diary contains some labeled pictures. This is the next generation. Caption, an attempt to recapture the spirit of the 5 pieces photo with our generation. For old time's sake, we gathered on the warehouse floor. I wanted Eli to stand all the way on the left, since to me he looked a lot like Pop did in the old one. But I was outvoted by my brothers. They insisted the 4 of us stand together, and so we clumped up on the middle and let everyone filter in behind and in front of us. The only one too good to make an appearance was Gwen. Grandma insisted we include Sam even though we didn't want to. None of us understood why including Sam. I also didn't think it fair Miracle made it in since he's technically a 5-piece. This must be Miracle. I guess my inner child still holds a grudge even after all these years. Because don't they wear like crazy colors? Yeah. So this is Miracle. Nope, wrong one. Fuck. He's got the stupid sunglasses. That's Miracle. This must be Miracle Jr. Just a little baby. I still don't know who Miracle was married to. Hopefully it comes back soon, Cake. The 4 of us. I assume this is Lauren. It looks like her. With like the curly hair. And so that would mean... Oh wait, this might be Lauren actually. This was the 4 of them? Or this was the 4 of them? He looks younger though. Okay. We don't have anybody... Wait. Did she say something about Elias? Yeah. So... So one of them is Elias. That sucks because we could put his picture in, but we don't have a lot of information about what he looks like. Because that would be... Wait. Yeah. That... I wish I could see these like side by side. Oh, I can kind of. So I think I'm like worried that I'm starting to get like confused. She said Elias looked like Pop, which would be her father. But we have Elias over here, but so something made us believe that Elias was Miracle's brother. Which is weird because if that's the case, then why would he look like her father? That's something we gotta figure out. I don't know why we put him over here. I don't remember. God, there's so much information and now I'm like, what the hell? This was what? Caroline and... No, this was Debbie. So Debbie was married to Ernie, which I believe is this Ernest. So this would be Debbie, potentially. Deborah Bean. And then this is Ernest Jr. Did they have a kid named Ernest Jr. though? No. So maybe it's Ernest Jr.'s wife. And then one of these two is... It sounded like they only had one kid. Oh, wait, no. So then, no, that does, what the fuck? Maybe Ernest Jr. is down here? That doesn't make sense. I mean, I guess it does because they'd only have one kid. And it would still be in the Ernest. So, like... But I don't know why Ernest Madsen wouldn't name his kid Ernest. You know what I mean? Like, it's like the second... Instead of it being here. But there's no information. What about Deborah Bean? Let's try... Deborah Madsen. She was married to an Ernest. No, it could make sense that she was married to the first one, right? Did I overcomplicate this in my head? Sounds like he would be here. Because Carl took over for him. He was the 4th president. So... Okay. What do we got for G names? So this would be G. This would be E. So we're figuring this is Ernest. This would be C-E, M, and then M. We're getting there. I know we are. We gotta figure out if Ernest Jr. was the first or the second kid. Because that's what I'm assuming. Ernest Jr. is on the same generation as Carl took over. And that would mean one of these would be the other Nicole. Because they only had one kid. There's 16 more things we can get from this. Let's just scroll through. 11 things from this. 9 more things from this. 7 more things from here. Five more things for this because we don't really have any information on the first generation. 5 pieces. This is where we... Really, if we figured out the first generation, everything else would be easier. This is what led us to the ad. Why is not this one? Well, maybe it wasn't. No, this one. Does anything happen when you look up Miracleberry, maybe? Wait, no, that makes sense. Because Miracle. Aha, so the last one is Miracle. So the other M would be... Okay, wait, that makes sense. That's what we have. So this would be the other M. Margalite Roottrees. Has to be. And this would be something CE. Clancy Edward Rootree. And then this would be Ernest, and this would be... We don't have Gwendolyn up there. So this would be Gwendolyn. Aha! Okay. Easy. Easy, easy, easy. Okay. This was information we had the whole time. Gwendolyn Rootree. Gwendoline. I wish I could just copy these names. Gwyn. Gwyn. DOLINE Rootree. Okay, so they definitely don't have her on there. Ernest Madsen. For some reason, Ernest is the only one that isn't. There's no E, right? Oh, yeah, it is. That's Edward. That has to be. Okay, wait. That makes more sense. So maybe Edward had... Yeah, okay, wait. None of these people come up, though. That's the problem. Clancy, Edward, Roottrees. Aha. The Clance, pronounced Clancid, Trust is an highly unusual corporate arrangement named after Clancy Edward Roottrees, who was Elias's son. Yes, okay. Perfect. And the Roottrees Candy Company's head lawyer. He's a lawyer. At the time. Due to its unique nature, it's often brought up in online discussions about financial matters and inheritance as an oddity. The company mandates that a fixed percentage of its profits are split every quarter amongst bank accounts representing each direct relative of Elias and Gwyneth. An account is created for each blood relative at birth and first accessible when they reach 18. The actual numbers have never been fully disclosed to the public, but due to ever increasing success of the company, it is a significant amount of money. The Clance Trust is known for being essentially impossible to get around due to many checks and balances written into it. Still, there have been a few situations in which family members have tried to forcibly remove another member from the trust. Most details online are pretty vague, since matters are handled internally. The only information you discover is from a university law school, which apparently had a guest lecturer talk about the Roottrees versus RR. While looking into the Clance Trust, you often find mentions to the 5-piece guarantee. Okay, so we go here. Let's try this. You find very few details about this particular incident with regards to the Clance Trust. A student that attended the lecture about it wrote the following on a Legal Oddities website. From what you can tell, RR attempted unsuccessfully to remove a fellow family member from the trust. It was said that RR attempted 2 arguments. First, the person in question was born out of wedlock. And second, they committed a significant crime against a fellow family member. Still, due to the ironclad wording of the Clance Trust, it was impossible to remove any direct descendant of Elias Roottrees without completely dissolving the trust. There's no additional information online. Okay. So one of the kids was born out of wedlock. Which probably leads you to Sam at some point, because, like, they considered him a... It could just be Sam. But that wouldn't be in the 5-piece, so I'm not sure. How long have my model been asleep? I didn't realize for some reason VTube Studio was tabbed out on my phone. I don't know what happened. I didn't notice it. The 5-piece guarantee in combination with the Clance Trust was Elias Roottrees' attempt to ensure that the Roottrees Candy Company would remain a family business for eternity. In isolation, it is somewhat baffling. The yearly salary of Roottrees' president is always locked to the price of a single pack of 5 pieces. When the 5-piece guarantee went into effect, this was 25 cents a year. Now it's closer to $4. Combined with the Clance Trust, however, it makes a bit more sense. Elias wanted to ensure that only his direct relatives could afford to be president, and he knew that because their passive income was tied to the profits of the company, they would have a vested interest in keeping the company as profitable and successful as possible. Whether or not this was a smart or successful decision is widely debated both online and in person by economics enthusiasts of all levels of expertise. Okay. Wait. Oh, okay, there's an Edward and a Clancy Edward. Okay. I was confused for a second. Yeah, so he was a descendant of Carl, so that makes sense. I was so, like, locked in. So let's go back here. Bonnie, next President Guy Hudson, Ernie Jr., Caroline, Gwyneth. So, do we have Eli M on here? No. I thought this was the 5-piece. Like the original 5-piece. Oh, it is. Gwendolyn. Gwendolyn would be... This is Miracle Jr. This is Carl. Hold up. So this is not from the original piece. This is Carl. Which would make sense, because didn't we say this was James? So maybe it's from that. Would this make... This doesn't make sense, does it? So would this make this Jane and this Diamond? And then this would be Diamond? The one that's pregnant in the picture next to him? I keep, like, it's hard because you have to, like, they don't give you the full photo. What is she wearing this? Like, blue? Is it this one? It doesn't look like her at all. Like, it doesn't look the same. Yes. But this is what I'm assuming, because she has brown hair. I thought Diamond had blonde hair. I just assumed. But it would make sense that if this is her, this would also be her. Because they're next to each other too, right? Or like next to each other. Yeah, that does make sense. Because they got the plus. We still don't know, so... We don't know which one of the men look the same. We know this is Carl. Ooh, Eli. Okay, I see it. Okay, so. So that went like this. She said someone looked like Eli. This one. So we know what Eli looks like. But it was in her book, right, that she talked about Eli? Which one is the one she talked about? Okay, Eli is Miracle's youngest. So Elias Jr. Yep, that works. And then we said Eli looked... That's where we got that information from. So it would be this one, I think. Because we've deduced that this is Eli. But yeah. And then didn't she say, hang on. Eli looked like her father? No, her brother. But we don't know how old he was, right? I don't remember where she talks about that. Oh, this is the 5 pieces. Hold up. This helps. Would that make this make... This Edward, maybe? I don't know. Hang on. I'm confusing myself now. Because I thought this was... I thought this was her. They were this age. So this must be Gwendolyn, not her. That was just the wrong picture. This is her. There we go. Let's see what we got right so far. These 3 entries are correct and have been locked. Hell yeah. Okay, we got all the lists, people. Ooh, we did a lot. We got a lot right. Hell yeah. Okay. This wasn't Jane, though. This wasn't right. Neither were any of these pictures. Can we just, like, get rid of them? This picture isn't right either. This must be... Okay, let's see. C and J. J and D. That's what I thought. Unless it's like this. Clark and Jane. But why would it be backwards? I'm so confused. Let's just try it the other way around. It has to be the other way around, right? No, because this would still make this, we thought, Clark. But that means that this has to be Clark. Which means the blonde has to be... Clark and Jane. This has to be... No, blonde, right? That's how I originally had it. That's kind of annoying. And then the other one was what? This guy. So it'd be this. And Diamond would be this. Okay. We locked in almost everything that we filled in though, except for this. But that's just because we don't have an occupation. We don't have enough information for that to lock in. I have another picture of Miracle somewhere though. Which would probably be would probably be in this photo, right? Was Miracle blonde? So does that make this blonde Miracle and Miracle's wife maybe? Or no. That makes this Miracle. That makes... So we have Gwen and we have Margot. But I'm gonna assume Margolite is blonde because Gwen was blonde. Right? That makes kind of sense. She looks like her. So this is Margolite. Clancy Edward has to be this one, and he looks kind of like... Yeah, that could make sense. Clancy Edward, and then... Wait, there's not 3 men in here. Shit. Where's Eli Jr. though? He was an architect. I thought this was the original 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But one of them was Itty Bitty Baby. Oh. Wait. Okay, so this isn't right. This isn't right. This would be Miracle, the little kid. Because he's a baby. And then she said Morden. Who is Morden, though? Mr. Morden. And then, so this is Lauren. As far as I can tell. No. She said they were the same age, like almost the same age. Oh God, I can't. That picture's throwing me off. It doesn't make sense. Like, yeah, Miracle's the youngest. But like, unless... Oh, wait. Hang on. I don't know. Oh yeah, that's because it was Lauren's diary. I'm pretty sure this still is Gwendolyn. That would make this Mr. Morden. He's not even on here, right? Oh, right. No, we could be still on the right track. Just that this isn't Lauren. That's Margot. And this is the picture before they let the kids in. But Miracle was still in it. That would make Gwendolyn the blonde. And then there should be 2 more men, right? Which one is Morden is really the question. Do we have any more Mordens in here? No. It still could be that this is Miracle Jr. Or one of the other ones. And not Miracle, because it still sounds like she's saying that they were all the same, about the same age. Sorry, my brain is working very slowly. You know what? They really threw us off here by saying that they took another with the kids. Like, I could say that this looks like Margot, but that would also mean that she's trying to say that Miracle or Miracle Jr. were close in age and they weren't. Wait, I'm gonna come back to this because this is confusing me. So Gwendolyn is in this picture too, right? Oh, was this a different Gwendolyn? Was there another Gwendolyn? Because maybe this would still make sense if this was Gwendolyn. And then she was the one... No, she doesn't have any other pictures. That doesn't make sense either. Okay, we didn't get any closer to any other pictures, I don't think. Did I put any... I'm gonna just keep that one there for now. Because that picture can't be Miracle Jr. So she has to be saying that it was Miracle. But whether it's this one or this one is where we're kind of stumped. But I'm actually gonna leave it. So this would be the 4 of them. Or the 4 of them. It's weird. I'm assuming it's these 4. And then that would be Lauren. Did we lock in that that was Lauren? This one? And that would make... Wait, this wasn't Elias Jr. Was it? Did we put that there? We may actually have put that there after. So then it would be... This is Elias Jr. This is Lauren, or this is Lauren. One, 2, 3. This didn't lock in either, did it? It's almost been 3 hours, so I'm actually gonna call it. We'll figure out more tomorrow. Okay, chat, I'm getting tired. I'm gonna go rest. Ugh. This game is really, really, really fun, though. So thank you guys so much for hanging out. Really appreciate it. And I will see you guys next time. Thank you for being here, Cass. Cake, I hope your internet comes back. Bye, everyone. Have a great day.